Hello, Mad Geniuses. So I am just working on telling the stories of Western North Carolina and wanted to recap day 3 of the Western North Carolina tour. And the good news is that the Southwest corner, I started in Asheville and went down 40, made my way. I was heading towards Cherokee, and then, you see all the reports that Cherokee's pretty much fine. So hit Silva. Silva's just as cute and adorable as ever. And Innovation Brewing is right there on the water, and it was fine. So I kept working my way south, and I hit Lake Glenville and Lake Toxaway, both of which are fine. And that was awesome to see because in my mind, all the lakes were just, you know, flooded or gross or whatever. So that was really good to witness. I hit a couple small places, Cedar Mountain and Penrose, that had some businesses flooded and, were not reopened yet. But overall, not much to report from the Southwestern kind of corner loop. Um, saw some evidence of the storm in Pickens County, working down the mountain. And there was a couple spots where, like a lick of the hurricane had hit and tons of trees down, had to be cut up, all that. But overall, looking pretty good. So then worked my way north through Fairview, and really you don't see a lot until you get to Biltmore Village, and that's kind of, I don't want to say it's the beginning because obviously South Carolina and Florida got hit, but in terms of a lot of devastation, and Clyde and Canton both got hit as well. I was in Canton the 2 days after the storm, and I think is that Bearwater right there, Bearwater Brewing. That flooded, plenty of homes and cars washed up and such in Canton. So want to make sure we mention them. But yeah, really, you realize Biltmore Village is sort of ground zero, and Swannanoa River Road is ground zero. And I feel like these are really glary, so let's take those off. So yeah, it was a realization that, okay, this is sort of the beginnings of where the storm really started rocking Western North Carolina. And, in some ways you could argue Asheville got hit the worst, right? Because you've got River Arts District gone. You've got the Sinkhole and Tunnel Road. You've got Swannanoa River with Walmart still closed. You've got Swannanoa itself, which directly touches Asheville. So lots of devastation, lots of flooding, Biltmore Village gone. So the arts, commerce, families and residential all hit right here in Asheville. So we kind of got all the horrors. Maybe not mudslides. I don't know about the super close mudslides. I know that there's, Craigstown suffered a mudslide, and Garin Creek and Fletcher and Fairview had some mudslides and things. So kind of the trifecta happened here: flooding, mudslides, and tornadoes, and um, two communities at least basically gone. If you're just talking about Asheville proper with Biltmore Village and River Arts District, but when you look at Swananoa, Canton, some of these places that touch Asheville, um, definitely got rocked. We're still without water, so we're still using bottled water um, or whatever to cook. We are bathing in this water. Some of us are bathing in it, but people say, "Oh, it's time for a station shower." So it's like time to go to the bathhouses that are popping up, that have popped up at Buncombe County Sports Park or um, Owens High School, I think. So there's a couple places where you just feel cleaner going to the clean water showers that are mobile. So Wednesday was, or day 3, not Wednesday, Friday, day 3 was not quite as devastating. It was okay. There's counties that were barely impacted. There's not a lot of evidence 6 weeks later in some of these areas. So that was really good to see. And then I'll go ahead and just the juxtaposition to that is day 4, which was Saturday. And that was the kind of southeast loop from, working down to, I'm trying to think right now. Bat Cave, Edenville, couldn't see Chimney Rock. There is a temporary road into Chimney Rock that's just gravel that one of my friends, April, has done videos from where she's going on a run. So I didn't get to see Chimney Rock firsthand myself, but Bat Cave, in some ways, looked the most violent. I'm describing it. It looks like Godzilla ripped through it because there are riverside homes that were, already hanging off of cliffs that got rocked. And so you're just seeing houses torn apart. The drive-in, you can see where the mudslides were happening as the river was rising. So, thinking about that road and the crashing in of the water and the crashing in of the mudslides and how it must have been like a cyclone right there, water up and down, water kind of meeting in the middle. That cave was super, super intense. And worked my way over then to Lake Lure. Lake Lure was better than I thought it was going to be. There's, an area where the boats are piled up. The water's brown. There's, businesses in Lake Lure closed, but the houses weren't all destroyed. I'm sure there's some destroyed, and again, not trying to belittle anyone's experience, but just from what I could witness, what I could see, Lake Lure looks better off than some other places as far as the homes on the water. So, of course, some more investigation, and they're rebuilding too, and they had signs like "Thank you for helping restore the lure of Lake Lure," But you kind of feel like, okay, they're they're on their way. Um, Obviously not easy by any stretch. And then uh, kind of working up towards Morganton and Marion, again, kind of communities where there's some businesses that flooded, there's some streets that flooded, there's obvious evidence of devastation, but kind of feeling like the edge again, right? Where it's not a full wipeout of a community or a town. The low lying spots got hit. There's businesses closed. So you feel, that's kind of the edge on the east side. And hit Nebo on the way back. But then you get back to Black Mountain and you see Black Mountain was more fortunate. There's, again, some businesses closed, some streets hit, but overall, Black Mountain is kind of rocking and rolling. And there was tons of people there on Saturday. And then you come back through Swannanoa. And from my 500 miles of exploring, I think that Swannanoa, at least from this, preliminary, just trying to see for myself and trying to understand the actual shape and size and magnitude of this thing. Swannanoa is the most hit residential, at least, hundreds of homes gone, where other areas maybe 25, 50, I don't know. Swannanoa just had a compact area with lots of homes and lots of families that got destroyed. So I talk in terms of like relative terms, not to say what's worse, what's better, who's better off, who should be more grateful, nothing like that. For simply reality's purposes. So that's what I observed. That's what I witnessed. That's what I can share firsthand. And I saw a post today that, kind of emphasized this, where you can see all the drone footage, you can watch documentaries, you can look through pictures, and those are all super important things. And people need to keep sharing. People need to keep telling their stories. People need to keep coping, keep making sure the rest of the world doesn't forget about us and remembers what we've been through and doesn't just move on to the next news cycle. We really need attention, voices, coverage, stories. We need it all. We need it all. So I'm very glad that I went on this journey. I'm very glad that I now have a sense of the hardest hit, the next hardest hit, the least hardest hit. And we're all in this together. Any survivor of this storm in Western North Carolina, we are together. We have been through a massive tragedy. We are still reeling from the aftermaths of that tragedy and trying to figure out our lives, how to help, what to do, where to put our attention and our efforts. The just constant questions and doubt and fear and emotional roller coaster and new horrors every day and new hope every day and new needs every day, new requests, new stories of loss. I mean, it's an endless barrage of content and reality and trauma, hardship, all the things, all the things. So the connections I made, the, you know, potential for future collaborations, fundraisers, um, podcast days, all kinds of stuff made the trip worthwhile. There were some really scary roads. There was some places that people like to point out that I probably shouldn't have been in. There's things about this that we have to see it to believe it. We have to understand 6 weeks later the reality that we're facing. So the northern, Asheville, and then kind of going up to the Tennessee border, Unicoi, Irwin, that, and then on this side, kind of Marion, Old Fort. Yes, there's some licks out further east, but really going up that way, and then up above Boone, Hampton, North Carolina, which is on the Appalachian Trail. They had a hostile washout, and hearing more and more about like Ashe County above Beach Mountain. There's some Boone got hit. There's some in that northeast quadrant. Definitely some things hit up there, and I didn't get to explore as much up there, but the concentration is Asheville to Unicoi to Ashe County. I don't know enough to say which city, and then kind of down and over to Old Fort. So inside of that, Spruce Pine, Burnsville, Little Switzerland, Pensacola. There's a lot of things in that kind of oval shape that got hit the worst. Green River, Poplar, and Green Mountain. I mean, those places are wiped off. So having that sense, understanding the scope and the size of the disaster zone, connecting with boots on the ground of people who are doing fundraisers we can support, additional fundraisers we can do, through the WNC Recovery and 828 Recovery logos and stickers and merch. Just constantly looking for ways to help. So it was devastating, eye-opening, and just really clarifying. I think I needed the borders of this in West North Carolina clarified for me, and I needed to be able to make sense of the footprint, the size, the shape of this tragedy. Kind of helped a lot, and how I will focus my efforts going forward, where I will focus my efforts, what these communities need, how I can best serve. So a lot came out of this, and I appreciate anyone that, followed the journey on Instagram or Facebook, and I will address the haters in the next episode. So thank you for tuning in to Mad Genius Studios. Talk to y'all soon.